What up, y'all? DCFAYGOGUY. Welcome back to What's Happening Now, our look into the underground happenings. It's been an entire month since the last video I did. I did film a video on the 1st of December, for those who may have missed my post. On the 2nd of December, we actually had to put our oldest dog to sleep. Going in and trying to edit that video while also mourning the loss of that was very monumental of a task. And as I kept trying to edit this video and put it out, it was a lot of what I talked about was Black Friday sales, the shirt that Twisted put out that stirred up a lot of controversy, and just kind of in the greater spectrum of everything with just going through that major loss. It really felt like energy I didn't want to invite into my life at that time. And I felt that the longer that I was going to wait to edit and put that video out it became very irrelevant because of a lot of the subject matter. So ultimately I decided to just completely scrap that video. So for anybody who's been waiting for that, I apologize. It's not going to come out. I don't feel like it's a necessary video to ever see the light of day. I had made the post just so that people kind of knew when it came out that there was a reason why it was so late, and then ultimately decided to just get rid of it. So my post then became irrelevant, you know, aside from letting people know, hey, this is why there's such a delay in videos coming out. So, but for everybody that has reached out and offered their condolences to Megs and I, we greatly appreciate it. It's been a very hard loss for us. She was 14 and a half years old. She would have been 15 in May. So it was definitely like the best time for her to go. And we got, it happened at a time where she was starting to really see a lot of health issues, but we did it at a time that she wasn't yet suffering. Like, she was dealing with a lot of back pain. She was having issues with her heart, and that's ultimately why we made the decision we did. All of that is really kind of laid out. Megs and I did a video. We've kind of started this new podcast for those who don't know. It's actually called Dinner with Megs in DC. It's a revitalization of the Lunch with Megs in DC we did fucking years ago, back in like 2017, 2018. 2016, I think, is when that even started. So if you're not subscribed to her channel, I will put a link in the description to that exact video if you're curious and want to know the full story of like what happened. We talk about Thanksgiving a little bit as well. So if you are interested in that kind of stuff, the link in the description will take you to that video. You can subscribe to Megs' channel. And that is a series that we're trying to keep going. It's kind of like keeping Juggalo talk going, but it's more centered on our lives versus Juggalo shit, which Juggalo shit is part of our lives. We talk a lot about events and stuff in that. So wanted to explain that right from the get-go and jump right into all of the major announcements that have been going on, because out of the Black Friday sales, and one of the first things that I want to talk about and hype up is they had a bundle for Alazul Ilu that had a shirt, I believe it had a hoodie, and it had a CD single for Till We Meet, the first official single off of their brand new album, Gods of Evil Rise, also known as the Mikey Clark record. This album has been in lingo hell. It's finally starting to see the light of day. We don't have any pre-orders yet. We don't have a release date yet. Very surprised by that. I've had conversations where they feel like we're not going to see it until like March. I have my hunches that I think we may see it pretty quickly in the beginning of 2025. No concrete reason. For me, it's kind of, they did announce their newest rock album is coming out in February. I'm really kind of jumping ahead here. They announced Madro's having a new album at the end of January. And I kind of noticed they did this similarly in the beginning of 2024 with Chainsmoker 2. It came out, and then I believe like 2 weeks later, it was Filth City. It was a J-Mo Ski album, came out like 2 weeks later. And then I believe 2 weeks later after that, they had the Young Wicked Mixtape 2 that came out. All within like a 6-week period, there was 3 brand new albums from Magic Ninja Entertainment. So, and I may have the order of those backwards, but I remember those 3 projects being the 3 main ones that, like, at one point in time, we had pre-orders for 3 different albums from Magic Ninja Entertainment. And I feel like that's kind of a similar tactic they're going to go with going into the first part of January. So that's just purely my hunch, my speculation, that I feel like we're going to see Gods of Evil Rise in early 2025, in January, probably weeks leading up to Madrox's brand new album. Pre-orders are not yet live. I probably already said that. But we do have a music video. We officially have a single on streaming. So the era of Gods of Evil Rise has officially begun. No more waiting. This album is going to be huge for Alazul Ilu, and I am excited to be here for it. So I wanted to plug that one pretty quickly. And like I said, I kind of jumped ahead with all of that shit. So backpedal just a little bit. On Cyber Monday, there was an announcement that more or less like a part 2 to the November Brain mixtape, I guess you would call it, is another album from Madrox called More Music You Don't Want to Hear from Someone You Barely Like. And real quickly, can we just talk about some of the stupid names for albums that have been coming out here lately? Like... and maybe even song titles, because, like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to talk shit about anybody, but like some of these like weirdly thrown out there phrases and titles are like, where did this come from? Like, I feel like what Madrox could have named this follow-up is More November Brain, January Brain, Winter Brain, Part 2, Volume 2, whatever. Music to Make You Vomit, because there's a picture of the fucking, like, skull, like, the gray skull fucking puking. Like, I don't know. It's such a weird title, and for it to be basically a continuation of November Brain. I looked at that title, and I was like, that was the name, that was the name that we landed on. Okay. Weird as shit. So, I don't know. I feel like I'm majorly nitpicking, and I'm going to really nitpick here in a minute when we go into another announcement that actually just came out fucking yesterday. But pre-orders are now live for this new Madrox. I'm assuming it's another mixtape. There's really not a whole lot of details of, like, if it's a mixtape, if it's an actual album, or just a continuation of what they did with November Brain. So you can get a shirt, a CD, or you can get a coffee mug and a CD, or you can get just the CD for $14.99. I did order the November Brain mixtape. I haven't got it yet. I actually ordered it after they had the foobar with the tracks being messed up, and it hasn't come. I have gotten access to the files, and I haven't even listened to the album at all. I don't know if I'm going to wait for this part 2 to come out, or if I'm just never going to listen to it. I don't know. I watched Deck One Delt do their review of it, and I just I left that review, or I watched that episode of theirs, like, I don't feel like I really want to listen to this album. I don't really know why I bought it. I think I bought it because of Earth 2, the Earth 2 version of Fatso. I just kind of had this, like, FOMO, and they were doing the Black Friday sales. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just grab this. But to be completely honest, I don't even fully know why I grabbed that CD, and I don't fully know if I'm going to grab this other one. I'm truly trying to stop buying so many CDs, but it's like some of this music that's not going to end up on streaming is coming out. So FOMO has hit me like a motherfucker, but I also have to remember we are in a very digital age, and there are people I know that would hook me up with like the audio files of it. So like, I've got to really get my FOMO in check. So completely bouncing off of... No, I'm not going to bounce off that one into this one. I'm going to jump it over. Twisted did finally announce a release date for their rock album, Welcome to Your Funeral. I had seen people say that they thought that that was a silly name title. To me, not so much. That one, to me, it feels kind of like they were going for that, like, edgy rock title that I think you would see a lot from bands like Five Finger Death Punch or Bullet for My Valentine, you know, that kind of genre of music. I do feel like Welcome to Your Funeral fits that vibe. So I don't hate that album title nearly as much. But they did finally give us a release date. It is dropping on Valentine's Day. It's an interesting release date for sure. I had my hunches that this album has been ready. My original guess was that this album was going to come out prior to them going on tour with Coal Chamber and Fear Factory. And quite quinkadinky, the tour is picking back up. The rescheduled tour dates, I think, start in March. So this is going to drop before that tour kicks off, which I think was their strategy. They wanted to have this new album out, ready, and they could be promoting it essentially on that tour. And it looks like that's what happened. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if they've had it ready all along, but waited for that. That's just my guess, my hunch, my speculation. But to me, strategically, it makes sense to have a brand new album come out if you're going to go on tour like that and be able to, you know, market it to these fans. So I know there's a lot of people that really don't care for them doing the rock stuff. They really don't care for them trying to market to that fan base. But, you know, I think especially for Madrox, doing rock music has always been a passion of his. So to me, it doesn't bother me. And I've listened to Unlikely Prescription and kind of fell in love with it. It's not an album that gets a ton of rotation, but if I'm in the right mood for it, I do enjoy the album. So when it comes to this album, I'm going to listen to it when it drops and see what I think of it. And I am planning to go to the tour stop that's going to be in Fort Wayne, Indiana, because I want to go see Fear Factory. I have not seen Fear Factory in several years, and I would like to see Fear Factory with their new singer. So I will be going to that tour, primarily for that reason. I'll stay, obviously I'm going to stay, see Twisted, see Fear Factory. I don't know about Coal Chamber. I've never listened to any of their music, so that may be a dipping point for me. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling that night. I mean, it's going to be in the middle of the week, so that actually feels like a really good strategy to dip out after I see Twisted and Fear Factory and just head home for the night. But I may, if the album comes out, I really like it, I may just wait for the tour to pick up the physical copy of it. So, yeah. They finally did announce it, and they're doing like a 3-day... They're calling it the Be My Bloody Valentine weekend, which I believe they've done a concert like that before in the past. I feel like it's been years. I want to say 2017 might have been the first time I remember seeing something like that. But yeah, they're doing like a 3-day event, like 3-day tour. The first stop is going to be in Reading, Pennsylvania. The second one is in Ohio, and then they're going back to Pennsylvania, which interesting decision there. But so if you're going to be in the area and you want to go see some Twisted Sister, I'm assuming they're going to be performing the new album, since it's kind of like Welcome to Your Funeral album release celebration is what they've essentially titled it. So I imagine it's going to be a full-on rock set. So if you're going to be in the area and want to go see it, and they're not coming anywhere close on the Coal Chamber tour, be a good chance to see them. Or if you just want to see them and then see them on the tour, there is that option. But they did finally announce the release date for their new rock album, and I'm going to be open to it because, like I said, an Unlikely Prescription I actually enjoyed. I ended up scooping up their Time Tunnel album that they released back in 2019, which when I first seen that album, I was like, this feels completely like an unnecessary release. But then listening to it and seeing a lot of the backlash that they've gotten over Unlikely Prescription and them going on the Warped Tour and shit like that, to me, it was kind of like, okay, this album makes sense now because it's them showing, like, throughout their discography, the rock-type tracks that they've been doing essentially all along. And really, I think they've got enough songs that they didn't put on that album that they could do a volume 2 if they really, really wanted to. But, so yeah, moving on from that, let's see what else I got here. Just announced yesterday, and I feel like, oh yeah, there was another announcement that just came out yesterday. Friday the 13th, M&E sent out emails like at midnight. I was fast asleep. They're releasing, or they have a new album available right now for pre-order, along with some more merch. And they had a mask that is officially sold out. I think it's sold out within minutes. I Heart 31, which is going to be like a remix album of, I think there's 8 tracks that are remix songs from 31, and then 2 unreleased tracks. Now, first off, I absolutely fucking hate that name title. I fucking hate that title for that album with a passion. That is the corniest shit I've ever fucking heard. Why? To me, it was like, it's a remix album. The album is called 31. Why not flip it and just say 13? They easily could have called the album 13, included 13 tracks that were include the entire album of 31 remixed with a different intro, slap the 2 unreleased tracks on there, I was talking to somebody, and I'm not going to put their name out there. I'm trying to be more like when I have conversations, not say who I'm talking to this person about, just for privacy reasons. I'm sure they don't care, but that's just a new technique of mine. But I was having a conversation with somebody about this, and they were saying like the only reason that this person said the only reason they're going to buy this album is because of the 2 unreleased tracks. And my response was that's exactly why they did it. So, definitely strategy there as far as that goes. But to me, it's such a silly name. Like, when I first saw it and I saw the album cover, I was looking at it and I was like, what is this even called? 1031 is what I thought it was. And then when you go to the actual like website and you see it's I heart, like with a green heart emoji, 31. I truly fucking hate that title. I really do. So much to a point where I don't even know if I want to buy it. I hate it that much, and I hate it more than I really should. Like, I feel like if I did get it and I put it on my iTunes, on my iTunes, I would probably rename it 13 just to be fucking spiteful. But it feels very much like an unnecessary release, especially since 31 just came out. Like, we're still hot off the heels of it. You know what I mean? They were in a lot of people's top albums of the year on their Spotify Wraps. I know they were on mine for Apple Replay. They were, I think, my number 3 artist. It was Twisted technically, but it was riding off of the HOK album. So I don't know. It feels very soon to do this, but I am open and receptive to listening to it because I have actually, for those who've been watching for a long time, opened up to remixes. Now, when it comes to the screwed and chopped shit, because I've had people that have like sent me stuff that's screwed and chopped, and I'm like, I'm not a fan of this, and they for a long time continued to send me stuff, even though I had made it crystal clear to them that I'm not a fan of it. I'd still get bombarded with it. So they did finally stop. They haven't in a while, but I'm not a fan of screwed and chopped. But I've opened myself up to remixes, especially if they're done right. And you can give that thanks to Low Key. His Chameleonic remix album is really good. His alternate dimension version of Book of Time, good. What he did with those albums, I really like. He has different beats, but there's a lot of the vocals on those albums that I feel like he re-recorded so that he had a proper cadence for the beat, proper tones, and he actually on some of them completely switched it up where instead of rapping, maybe he was singing, or instead of singing, he was humming. You know what I mean? Like, he went in and redid vocal work on those albums so much that to me, it's like you can listen to two separate albums. Like, you can listen to Chameleonic and listen to the remixes of Chameleonic, and they're different enough that I enjoyed both. So he's got me open to the idea of listening to remixes if it's done right. So I think my plan is, I have every doubt in my mind that this I Heart 31 album is going to go on to streaming. So I'm going to hope that somebody I know can hook me up with like files of the album so I can give it a listen and then make the decision from there if I'm going to get it or not. Again, I just truly hate that title. Like, I nitpick titles and I nitpick album covers way more than I should. I don't know why that's so important to me when I could just go in and just listen to the music and enjoy it. But I guess it's like, if I'm bumping this shit and somebody hears, oh, what are you listening to? Oh, I'm listening to House of Krazees. Oh, what album? I Heart 31. That's stupid. That's such a stupid name to me. Like, they could have even just called it 31. I don't know. There was just, to me, I think the 13 made the most sense because you're like essentially remixing the title and calling it 13. Like, just like mirror it. Like, it was right there. Completely fits the theme of your album, completely fits the theme of the gimmick, but they called it this. Silly. It's silly to me. And that's such a thing to gripe about. And for anybody that's triggered by that, I do apologize. But like, I literally just saw that and I spent like half the day like just thinking to myself like how badly I hate that fucking title. So going through my clips or my windows here that I have open, I don't think there's too much more. I feel like there's something I'm going to miss though in this video. But the biggest one I think, which again just announced yesterday, on Friday the 13th, Juggalo weekend tickets officially went on sale. We already knew the date. We already knew the where. It's going down February 14th and the 15th. It's featuring JCW Lunacy. So I'm assuming they're going to be filming an episode of that there for those who enjoy wrestling. It's the epic return of the DCG Con, which from what I have seen, they haven't announced a venue yet for the actual DCG Con side of everything. So hopefully they can get that locked down and have success with it, because for me, I feel like there's a lot really riding on the success of the DCG Con part of this event, because I think that that's going to really determine whether they bring it back full on as its own standalone event. And I really want to see it succeed. I have zero plans to attend. You know, it's in New England in the middle of winter, so I'm just not even making the plans. But I have a lot of interest in it because, again, I want to see the DCG Con return. It's been easily one of my favorite events that I've ever gone to. And that was just the first one. So, like, they were still ironing out all the quirks to the event. So, very excited to see that the tickets are on sale. A little bit of controversy that I guess I've been seeing when it came to this event, that the ticket prices are like $125. And here's the thing. I don't, like, Juggalo Weekend is an event that when they normally have it way out west, which they've done a few times here recently, or, you know, it's so far that I really have to make travel plans to go to it. I don't even really pay attention to, like, the ticket costs and all that. But I'm seeing a lot of people saying that the tickets are a lot this year. And I guess I feel like maybe they should have been all along, because Hallowicked easily for the last, let's see, I went 2021 and I went in 2023. And both times, those tickets were pretty expensive. I feel like, no, maybe 2023 wasn't as bad. Like, if you got a balcony seat, it was cheaper. I do remember that. But if you went down in the pit, it was well over $100 to get that ticket. Going to Hallowicked in 2021 and the release party, it was like, I feel like $150 easily that we spent on tickets to go see Hallowicked. And obviously the gathering price has gone up. I feel like Big Balla's had some expensive prices here recently. So, like, I've had some people, like, I've seen some people talking about the ticket price for this, and it's like, I mean, yeah, all of their events have been more expensive since they stopped touring. Like, this really isn't out of the norm. I think they've actually kind of brought them down a little bit since they've done some shows. Like I said, Hallowicked in 2021 was more expensive than it was in 2023. There were cheaper options to go to Hallowicked in 2023 versus 2021. So, like, I fully accepted that this is just the new norm for ICP, is we're going to pay a pretty hefty ticket price to go see the clowns. But you also got to keep in mind that they're not really touring like they used to at all. They've been doing some pop-up tours here and there, but, like, that's become a rare thing to go see them. So naturally, I feel like the prices are going to be more expensive. Not really justifying those prices, but saying that there's an explainable reason why tickets are probably so much more than what you're used to. Like, if you haven't seen ICP since before COVID and you wanted to go see these guys, you're like, fuck, why are tickets so much? Like, this is kind of the new norm for ICP. I think a lot of juggalos that have been going and seeing ICP the last few years at these events are already adjusted to that. And like I said, they've actually gone down a little bit. So, yeah, I have seen a lot of people upset by it, but you just got to keep that in mind. They do not tour like they used to. But I think that's everything for this episode. That's everything that I had pulled up. I feel like there's something that I'm probably missing, but this is like the comeback video. It's been exactly a month since the last episode of What's Happening Now. It's been exactly a month since the last video I put out. So I wanted to do this because there was some shit to actually talk about. And look at that. We filled in a 20+ long video. So tell me down below, what are you excited about? What are you most looking forward to with What's Happening Now? I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.